Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, wherever you're watching from. Back in the Pain Cave here in Melbourne after my trip over to the UK and Europe. I'm just rolling the New London course. If you saw my video from the other day, I rode the real course on the Boris bike and took the camera around. Now it's time for me to load up Zwift and ride the course virtually from where I've just come from. So come with me now. About 15 minutes or so we'll spend just rolling around the course, having a look at the landmarks. And maybe after this, I'll put in some footage from the other day to see how close they got the graphics. All right, let's spin fast through this section here. And we'll kick off at Trafalgar Square. Approaching Trafalgar Square the other day from another angle, but all pretty much the same. And all the new additions to the course, such as the people and the birds and everything on the course, really liven things up a lot. So from here, that's where the horses were the other day. If you remember, I put a little... I'll chop the footage in here afterwards. You'll see the horses. Here's where the horses were. Okay, we're off onto Pall Mall, I think they call it. And the road on this day was shut off for me anyway, so it looks very similar. So I'm keen to see how much of the gradient they put in from real life into the game. Have they gamified it, or have they just replicated real life? Again, there were barriers here set up on the day, just like we're seeing here. Okay, 0% gradient, nothing much added there, 0.1, so pretty flat through here. About the same amount of people that were there the other day when the roads were closed off. Getting a bit more lively now. I do recall this building here on the left. There's a brown stone building there. Looks like very similar stuff. Right, now onto St James Street. This one did kick up. I remember pushing the Boris bike pretty hard up here on its 3 speeds that it had. And there we go, 3%. So 3% gradient up St James Street. Few less roadworks than the other day. Left onto Piccadilly. And flattens out from here. So -3, so a little bit downhill from there. Okay, big open roads. Underground there on the left. Now, with all the crowds there, I feel guilty not waving to people, so just got to throw them a bit of a wave here and there. I keep forgetting they're not real people, whereas everyone else on bike is a real person. Everyone on the sidelines is not a real person. Maybe one day we can join as a spectator and we'll be standing there. So I've got to say, the Zwift bike is much faster and much smoother than the Boris bike, the higher bike I was on for the day. Okay, here's a diversion I couldn't do in real life. I didn't go under the underground here that we're going into. I went left and around a very busy roundabout. I didn't get any footage there because it was very hectic in traffic. So that was downhill there. And a slight uphill. Feels like it's going to be uphill coming out. Yeah, it is. 1% coming out there. Slight uphill coming out of the underpass, I think you'd call it. Okay, around here we're hitting Brompton Road, for anybody in London who knows the actual names of the roads. Bit of a wave to the crowd. Thanks for the support, people. They're not real, but can't not be friendly, hey? Can't be too pro to wave. Yeah, it does get a little bit realistic there with the buses and everything as well. I do recall this building here in front of me now, though. That was a browny sort of grey building. That looks very familiar, so I think they've nailed that one. Again, pretty flat, no real undulations in the road. I remember that brown building there on the left quite vividly, that stood out. And we're hanging a left here onto Hands Road. Now Hands Road on here looks a lot bigger than it did in person. This was a small side street. So the Zwift architects have really opened the street up, so thanks guys for that. And after Hands Road, we have Hands Place. Around this little sort of roundabout here. A few more cars, I recall. And then we're on to Hands Street, which is a left-hand turn off Hands Place. Heading towards Sloane Street. Again, it's nice being on Zwift and having everything barriered off for the course. Cyclists get priority, so on to Sloane Street. Heading pretty much south at the moment. Fellow Aussie, few on course at the moment, good to see. M Wood, thank you for the ride-ons. Now there's another small diversion coming up, well sort of half a roundabout, well a big kind of roundabout. Sloane Square we are. So it's a left-hander on Sloane Square and about half a circle around Sloane Square before we head back down towards the river. Left-hander onto Lower Sloane. Again, 0%, dead flat. Came in, thumbs up, thank you. Bit of a bunch rolling past already, so the team event's already taking place on this extra roads we have now in London. So I think we're down onto Chelsea Bridge Road now, which will take us down towards the left-hander along the river. Again, -1, -2, still pretty flat. And my question is, have they replicated the blue bike lanes? They were very distinct when I was riding there the other week. In the foreground there you see a flying pig. It's a reference to a rock album. I wasn't aware of that one, so showing my taste in music. Now here's a left-hand turn. You can see a bridge there on the right. Vividly recall that, and we're onto the bike lane, and it's blue. Well done. Well done to the team at Zwift. The blue bike lanes are very iconic. They stood out when I was there on the bike the other day a lot, so great to see those. Under the bridge, duck. And we're down on Grosvenor Road. Dead flat along the river. We're more than halfway through now. Big open roads. The blue bike lanes are kind of cool. I like it. Having been there before, it does feel like they've replicated it right. It was brand new roads to me the other day when I rode it, and right now it feels very, very familiar. It's the first time I've ridden somewhere that they've replicated online or virtually, and they've done a really good job. They really have. Adds more context as well, that I know what's coming up. I know the corners that are coming up, and I'm looking for the buildings that seem familiar. I think people who rode Richmond said the same thing. If they knew the course, they felt more connected to it because they'd been there before. They knew what it was like. I'm definitely feeling that sense around this part of the London course, even though it's my first ride. Okay, 0%. Still dead flat through here, but this would be nice and fast for some racing. That building there looks familiar. Ha ha ha, I knew I'd seen it before. I'll put the footage into that later. Final few kilometres here, maybe even the last kilometre itself up to Parliament Square. Again, still dead flat. Those blue bike lanes really stick out. That's super cool. Not much character to the course though. There's only a few ups and downs at the top of the course, which is exactly what I mentioned the other day. So gradient wise, it seems to have replicated real life. They haven't added anything artificial to this. It's ups where it's ups and it's downs where it's downs. And it's flats where it's flats. But that's cool. Okay, we'll head straight up to here to Big Ben. That pretty much concludes the brand new part of the course. We'll just ride up past Big Ben and to where I finished the video the other day. I remember coming through this roundabout on the other side, well, the left-hand side. Virtually they send us straight through. Thumbs up, D-Mac. Good to see you, mate. Am I back in Australia yet? D-Mac asks. Yes, D-Mac, I am. Here we are. And this building does look really familiar from the other day. That's pretty much it. That takes care of the whole new route. So, in conclusion, they've done really, really well replicating what's there in real life, for sure. That underground underpass, I think, which I couldn't do in real life, was there, had a little bit of gradient to it. St James Street had a bit of a kick to it, so I guess in the other direction, it'd have a bit of a downhill to it as well. Not a lot of character to the course though, there really isn't, but there's more options to ride, and I guess for races and events, and just to be able to not cover the same ground twice in a longer ride, that's what it's all about. I think that's one of the main philosophies behind course design, is to be able to give us options to ride and not ride the same place over and over. So that ticks the box there. It's about an extra 8Ks or so. And in both directions, there's 16Ks added to the course. Not a bad update. There's a few other features that came along with this in regards to event identification and a few background things as well. So again, progression, forward moving from Zwift, and all part of our subscription for the month. So what next? We're going to have more hills. We definitely need more hills, and I think we need more sort of fantasy land. This is software. We can do anything with software, or they can do anything with software. So maybe some ups and downs, some, I don't know, something off the wall, outside of the square, rather than replicating just standard roads, which have done really well here. But what next? What next is the question. Okay, I'm off to get the rest of the ride done. Thanks for watching, thanks for coming along, and we'll see you soon.